As far as grapplers go in KOF 15, Orochi Yashiro is probably the most well-rounded. He doesn't have Shermie's amazing cross-ups, Ramon's feint cancels, Dinosaur's huge limbs, Maxima's armor, or Clark's vortex, but what he does have is the same set of great normals as his regular counterpart and then some, meaning he benefits from all of the same confirming strings and frame traps. In fact, most of his strengths overlap with regular Yashiro's, but there are many situations where Orochi Yashiro's unique tools allow him to get more mileage out of them. He hasn't been out that long at time of writing, but as far as I can tell, all of Orochi Yashiro's normals are identical to regular Yashiro's, save for his CD, which traded some range for the ability to wall bounce on counter hit. Feel free to skip ahead if you're already familiar with Yashiro's normals. Far A is a great far jab, fast with good range. It chains into itself or far B, and cancels into specials and command normals. Nothing combos at the tip range besides EX Odoro Dachi, but this is practically irrelevant for reasons I'll show later. Far B reaches further and is also quite fast, but it recovers slower than most light normals. It can only cancel into supers or max mode, so its use should generally be restricted to being an annoying poke. Far C has decent range for a far heavy normal, but more importantly it can be special cancelled, which lends it great use for both poking and punishing. Far D has more range than Far C, but less than Far B. It whiffs against crouches except large bodies, and recovers slowly to the point of being unsafe on hit against some characters. It is still a half-decent poke as well as a decent anti-air against hops, but there are better options for each of these jobs individually. Close A is a standard close jab, and a gateway into basically anything. Close B is slightly slower than Close A, and doesn't chain into other normals, but it still special cancels. It also expands Yashiro's push box briefly, which you can use to push a downed opponent out of throw range. Close C is a standard close heavy normal that cancels in all of the usual ways. It is fast enough to link out of Close A, and has enough vertical range to be used as a decent anti-air, but it isn't his best. Close D is slightly slower than Close C, but it hits low and does slightly more damage. It cancels in all of the same ways and is plus on block. Crouch A is a standard crouch jab with good range. It chains into itself and other light normals and also special cancels. Crouch B is also pretty standard for what it is. It doesn't special cancel, but it chains into A normals and is therefore usually Yashiro's best low combo starter. Crouch C is Yashiro's best anti-air normal, as well as a strong combo piece since its speed and range allow it to link after Close A and Close B. It special cancels as one would expect. Crouch D is a long sweep that hits twice, giving it enough pushback to be safe on block in most situations. The first hit cancels into specials and command normals. Jump A is Yashiro's fastest air normal, as well as the one with the longest active hitbox. It hits really deep when used as a jump in too. Jump B is slightly slower than Jump A, but it's a very reliable air-to-air because of its angle. It struggles against crouching opponents though. Jump C is an outstanding jump-in normal due to its active window and wide hitbox. It can cross up and basically guarantees a combo if it hits a crouching opponent. Jump D is also pretty decent for jump-ins, but it's best used to control space due to its great horizontal range. CD is a pretty good blowback. On hit you can run in and continue a combo with 6B. As mentioned before, the range is slightly shorter than regular Yashiro's, probably to prevent whiff cancels into command grab being too good. Unlike most CDs, it wall bounces on counter hit, making new combos possible. Jump CD has excellent horizontal range, and it can even cross up against standing opponents. It has poor vertical range, however. 6A, Saku, is a standing overhead command normal. On hit, it causes a hard knockdown, which sets up a safe jump with an immediate hop after. It also hits OTG. When cancelled into, it stops being an overhead and is worse on block, but now cancels into specials. It is also faster when cancelled into, which allows it to be used as a frame trap after a light normal. 6B, Boo, is another command normal, which is better for combos since it deals more damage than a cancelled 6A, it can always be special cancelled, and it causes a juggle state when it hits an airborne opponent. When cancelled into, both 6A and 6B can be cancelled into Ko by pressing CD. Ko uses the animation of Yashiro's blowback, but it lacks any of a blowback's normal properties besides special cancelling on contact. It knocks down on hit and has enough pushback on block to make it safe in most situations. It can be used to lengthen combos and confirm strings, but it whiffs after a long enough string is blocked. Lastly, Orochi Yashiro has a target combo with A into B. The first hit can be either close A or far A, but the second hit will always use the animation of far B. The second hit cancels into specials, but not other command normals. It can be used at the end of a light confirm string as an easier but less rewarding alternative to 2B, 5A, 2C, 6B. Unfortunately, if you try to use this TC after landing a far A at tip range, the second hit will whiff. Half circle back forward punch, Musubu Daichi, is a command grab special with different properties depending on the buttons used. The A version grabs standing opponents and is extremely fast, but I don't think it comes out in one frame. The C version grabs airborne opponents, recovers slightly slower, and seems to have some invincibility to air attacks. I say some, because I've found it to consistently beat jump-ins, but consistently lose to safe jumps. You can also land it after a counter hit anti-air 2C. The EX version grabs downed opponents. This allows you to do some extra damage after a hard knockdown, but you give up any safe jump setups by doing so. Both of the normal versions can be super cancelled. Quarter circle back punch, Kujiku Daichi, is a command jump, with a punch follow-up that causes a hard knockdown on hit. How advantageous it is on block depends on how soon you do the punch. If you do it early, it's slightly minus, and if you do it late, it's slightly plus. If you connect with it really late, you can OTG with 6A, but it's quite precise. After any connect, you can also OTG with EX Musebu. Which button you use to perform the jump controls the distance, but it doesn't matter which button you use for the punch. The C version can cross up and is much easier to make plus on block. The EX version is instead a jump grab that sets up combos like in previous games. If you walk up slightly after connecting the grab, you can land close C or D for stronger combos. The grab is very slow to start up, so it seems like this version is doomed to remain a gimmick and a knowledge check. Half circle forward punch, Niragu Daichi, is a slower command grab that is totally invincible during its startup. It sends the opponent into the air, allowing you to juggle them, but the throw itself doesn't do any damage until they hit the ground. The highest damage option without spending Meteor is just to OTG with 6A. For half a bar, you can do 6B into Kujiku, and then OTG with EX Musebu. For one or more bars, you can do 6B into C Musebu, and then cancel into Super. The meter to damage ratio isn't great for any of these, though. The EX version of Niragu has slightly more range and does some extra damage before the juggle. Half circle forward kick, Odoru Daichi, is a dashing attack. The B version is slower to start up, but it's a grab. The D version starts up and travels faster, and also deals slightly more damage, but it's a strike that only hits grounded opponents. All versions cause a hard knockdown, but you'll only be close enough to OTG with EX Musebu if you land in the corner. It is possible to do a safe jump anywhere on the screen, but it has to be manually timed. Both normal versions can be super cancelled, which is not something that can be said of other dashing grabs. The EX version is a strike as well, but it will also connect against opponents in a juggle state, and leaves the opponent close enough to OTG mid-screen. Additionally, it is invincible to projectiles. Double half circle back punch, and Kokuji Goku Gokuraku Otosh, is a bloody mouthful, but it's also a pretty standard point blank grab super. It is invincible on startup, but it's otherwise unremarkable. Most of Orochi Yashiro's special grabs and combos can lead to it, but cancelling into it from a special grab adds a ton of scaling, so it's generally an inefficient use of meter. Although, having said that, the combo I'm showing right now does 50% for one bar, so it's not like it's never worth doing. The max version does more damage and gives worse Oki, but is otherwise identical in function. Double quarter circle back kick, Araburu Daichi, is a jumping grab super that travels a lot faster than EX Kujiku. The B version travels about half screen and can be comboed into. The D version travels nearly full screen and does so alarmingly fast, making it a good fireball punish. The max version travels the same distance as the D version and deals more damage. Despite what it may look like, you cannot OTG after either of these supers, and neither can be advance cancelled into the other, which means that they can only cancel into his climax, Shuen no Daichi, which behaves like a normal super when cancelled into. When done raw, however, it is a counter with a short active window. I won't speculate on Orochi Yashiro's optimal team position yet since he's so new, but I'm feeling significant similarities to Clark regarding his meter use. Having relatively cheap metered options to call out fireballs means he appreciates having some to spend though. Maybe give it a week or two for people to explore things a bit more.